Today we are going to talk about three subjects: Iran, Iran, and Iran.
We're not going to talk about Persia?
Guys, I got to tell you, there is a lot happening right now, and I believe the globalist New World Order media does not want you to know what's happening because it involves a lot of stuff. So, how about we start with how you're doing, bro? Because we have a lot of conversating to do, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of conversating. What's the latest and greatest, bro?
There's a lot of things going on. Oh, first of all, we're here for a while, but I'm going on a cruise next week, so I'm not going to see you guys next week. And we're getting all ready for that. But
and by the way, can I just say this real quickly? If I play my cards right, I will get my super wealthy friend to come on with me on Tuesday so that we can do a Q&A on
super wealthy
money. Actually, we might do that later on in the week because I have way too many Bible prophecy things I got to talk about.
Oh, okay.
So we'll do that. I'm a little scatterbrained right now, but we'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know what's going on.
So that's this. And in a kind of longer point, we're getting ready for an Israel event that we're going to be having on next Tuesday. So that's going to be something else. And let me see.
We are going to do an Israel trip in November.
And November Israel trip.
We will have some dates announced for you here shortly.
Okay, let's get to work on that.
I know. We gotta call Bill and get it over with. I know.
So that's happening right now. That's the main thing. But more than anything, it's what's happening in Israel. So I've been following closely what's going to happening in Israel, and there's a feeling like there's a watershed moment, and maybe that's what we need to go into and kind of talk about what's going on.
Okay, well, let's start with that because that's going to bring us into Iran. By the way, in case you have not already gathered it, this has everything to do with Venezuela. Because Iran just lost its proxy in the Western Hemisphere.
Yep.
And that is deeply consequential for our discussion here. And we're going to talk about why that actually means something and why the president is actually a genius for doing exactly what he did.
He keeps on surprising us by pulling these rabbits out of the hat. But the thing is, he doesn't do it like a regular magician. I mean, a regular magician kind of gives you the flair. He just sticks his hand in the hat and pulls out the rabbit. I mean,
Right.
And usually by the ears and usually by the scuff. But basically, do you want to go from the outside inside or do you want to go from the inside outside? Because one of the things that everybody's talking about in Israel is the fact that whether we agree with everything that the American president is doing or not, an American administration, an American president that's willing to wave the stick that America has and has had since the end of World War II is good for Israel, is good for the Middle East, and is good for the rest of the world, even if we don't always agree on everything that he does.
Oh, darn straight.
So by dynamic, the fact that we have a strong U.S. administration who's willing to use his economic stick, his political stick, and his military stick, okay, to put America first in that situation is also very, very good for Israel.
Oh, yeah.
And when people ask me why, I mean, are you more in support of Israel? No, put America first. And if America is doing what's good for America, it will also be good for Israel because we correlate, we line up, we parallel so many of what America and Israel is. But let's make this clear, the America first, the willingness of the president to use his abilities, capabilities, and assets to advance America, as opposed to other administrations who were not willing to use their economic power to advance America and not willing to use their military power. And I'm saying use the military power doesn't always mean boots on the ground. I mean, look what he did in Venezuela. The fact that he has a willingness to use the assets that the Lord has given the United States of America is also good for Israel. And I'd like to kind of unpack that a little bit if you want to do that.
No, we have a lot to talk about in terms of that. And I think there's there's a pretty tremendous amount of confusion that relates to why this is so deeply consequential. Because what happened in Venezuela is such a big deal as it relates to what's going to happen in the Middle East. There's a lot of things that happen in Iran alone that I think the overwhelming majority of people not familiar with Mideast policy cannot see.
Well, Hezbollah is freaked out. I mean, by the way, the rest of the Middle East is freaked out. I mean, I'm looking.
Why
at
wouldn't
this
they
from,
be freaked out?
I'm looking at this from my point of view. But do we want to? I mean, do we kind of feel that everybody who's listening to us knows exactly what happened in Venezuela?
Well, let's talk about it. I mean, we might as well give a little bit of a summary. Maduro is gone. Well, I mean, he's here, but he's. By the way, isn't it hilarious that he's in New York right now?
No.
By the way, swears in with his hand on the Quran while standing in a tunnel in solidarity for the most barbaric terrorist animals.
And waving socialism.
Oh, he's evil.
Yeah, but the most, how do you say, outspoken socialist in the world today, okay, is in chains a couple of miles away.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, isn't that
100%?
Isn't that a Balagan connection?
It's a thing of beauty.
Isn't that a Balagan connection?
It's a thing of beauty.
So, two things that I've kind of been going through in this whole kind of Venezuela Balagan. I think Venezuela has the world's largest reserves of oil.
I got corrected on this.
Okay. So
I got corrected. So my friend, some of you guys know who I'm talking about, David Mitchell. By the way, David Mitchell, in my opinion, is just this absolutely amazing man. I just love David with my whole heart, right? We're very kindred in many ways. He's a pastor. It's interesting. Wait, he just straightened me out on something. What did he say about reserves? And you're right. Venezuela has the most oil reserves, but we have bigger digging capacity. I'm almost certain.
Okay. So to understand this, and maybe this also relates to Iran also, the reserves mean that it is in the ground. It is there, but there's a lot of, how do you say, of technology and investment that needs to be invested into getting it out of the ground. So large reserves that are untapped. You know who else has large reserves that are untapped? Iran. Has major amounts of natural gas. By the way, Iran, it's natural gas. And here's the thing. Last year, there was
I've got a large reserve of natural gas, too.
Well, let's not go there. I mean, I don't know if your wife is listening or not. Okay. But
I know my wife is probably she's horrified right now.
Hope my wife isn't listening right now. But here's the thing. Untapped natural reserves. By the way, a side note, I can't help because it came across my feed today. Do you know who else has a massive amount of natural gas untapped, in reserve and untapped?
Who?
Egypt.
Oh, Egypt, yes. And you know Israel too.
Well, Israel too. But here's the thing. Egypt, it might be, has as much or more natural gas than Israel does, but it's untapped. So what's happening right now? Egypt is buying natural gas from Israel. I don't know if you know, but we made an agreement with them 2 weeks ago that puts huge amounts. And the reason that they're buying natural gas from us is not because they don't have the gas. It's because they don't know how to get it out of the ground.
Right. They don't have the process.
Which brings us to Venezuela. It has the oil. It can't bring it out of the ground. And as long as that government is there, nobody is going to invest the time, energy, money, technology in order to get their oil out of the ground.
That's right.
This is something that a lot of people don't realize. And part of what's happening is that those natural resources, by the way, not only resources, I think they've got heavy metals in Venezuela and other places that are going to be tapped into now. And the idea is that Hugo Chavez started off saying to himself, wait a minute, the best way for me to control all of these resources is to go socialist with the country. And he started off the whole socialist movement. and he had a bus driver. Basically, a bus driver named. Okay, and what's his name that we kidnapped just now?
Well, Maduro.
Maduro.
Yeah.
Okay, that's his bus driver. That was Chavez's bus driver who learned everything that Chavez did. And when Chavez died, he took over the whole dynamic of that. And him, Iran, China, and other places became this, how do you say, a bad boy club, if you want to put it that way. And they were kind of flaunting, we can kind of hold the big boys accountable, and we can push up against, and it's a bully club. I mean, we've all had these bullies in school, okay? Yep. And a bully can be a bully as long as you don't bully them back. And the only reason a bully can be a bully is because you're afraid.
Because you let him.
Yes, because you're afraid to interact with him. You're afraid to push back at him. And that's what these bullies, by the way, Chavez, Maduro, the Iranian regime, by the way, China. Okay, same idea. They're only a bully. They're only as big as they are because nobody's pushing back at them. And here's the big picture of what happened. Whether you agree, whether you're not, whether the economics, the idea is that the United States of America is willing, able, and capable to push back against the bullies. I think more than Maduro, more than anything else, that is the huge statement that President Trump just now made.
Yeah, it's no small thing. It's no small thing. Okay, so where
Delta Force. Okay, and again, here's what President Trump has done. This is what Israel has done in the past.
You just said Delta Force out of nowhere. Like,
well, here's how it.
Explain yourself, young man.
Here's how it happened. Okay.
I'm in the middle of talking. I'm about to say something. You're like, Delta Force. Okay. You just have like a little Tourette's thing happen to you. Tell me what that means.
Here's how it happens. Okay. They make a lot of noise. 2 aircraft carriers off Venezuela, amphibious ships, Marines. They put a whole massive army off the coast of Venezuela, enough to conquer all of Venezuela. And then they send Delta Force in to extract Maduro and his wife, specifically where they are, in the building that they are, put them on a helicopter and bring them out. Now, Trump has done this again. He's made a lot of noise. I don't know if you remember with Iran, with the B-2 attack. There was a lot of noise of the bombers flying to Diego Garcia on one side of the planet, and then he attacked from this side of the planet. The guy is a master. I don't know if it's him personally, but a master in, I'm going to say, deceit or camouflaging the actual intent, making his enemy believe one thing when he actually pulls off something else. And he kind of, everybody was talking about America going in, conquering Venezuela like we did in Grenada, and putting boots on the ground, and you have amphibious ships there, and you've got Air Force there, and in the end, it was Delta Force and helicopters that came in and pulled him out by his hair and put him on the helicopter and took him out. So that is actually how it happened, and that's got everybody freaked out.
Well, I mean, look, what did they think was going to happen?
A lot of people thought that the United States of America was going to conquer Venezuela. I mean, land on the beaches in amphibious, ships and roll tanks off and conquer the coast and go in slowly and fight a battle, which they would have won, just like we won in Grenada, or just like, I don't know, like the British did Falkland Islands, for instance, okay? Yeah. But again, it would have come at a cost. And while he is rattling the sabers over on this side, he used the dagger on that side. That's the greatness of what he did.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, we were so far ahead of the game when that had happened that while everybody was like, oh my goodness, we're going to fall, their mission was already accomplished.
Yeah.
They were in and out. They already pulled them out. Now, let me ask you this question. How much pushback do you think we're going to see from Venezuela?
Oh, I don't think very much. the Venezuelan people, and I've heard some of them. And I don't know if you know, there's a large
I'm talking
Israeli
about members of the regime. I'm not talking
members
about.
of the
I'm
regime.
talking about.
They're all going to line up with the new leader. I mean, if he manages to bring the leader of the opposition, who's saying that she's going to come back the minute it's possible, I think Venezuela will line up. Chavez. This is what happens when the head of the snake falls. We saw it with Gaddafi. We saw it with Saddam Hussein. We saw it with all of the rest of these. The minute the head of the snake actually hits the dust, which will connect us to Iran here in a couple of minutes when we're going to talk about.
But we're way worse off with what happened with Gaddafi. I think we're darn near worse off with what happened with Mubarak.
Which is, again, let's connect this to Iran in a minute, which is the reason I believe that the United States of America did not let Israel take out Khamenei in the 12-day war.
Yeah, it had to be that way. It had to be a natural uprising.
Which is why some people are kind of, surprised that he did pull off, this. And people keep on saying regime change. I don't think he wanted regime change. I think he wanted the Venezuela people, and that might be what happens now, to change their regime. He wants the Iranians to change the regimes, but he doesn't want to be the one to do it. And
it's the only way he can get away with it, bro. I mean, in all honesty, the president has to rely upon the people of the country to handle the issue that we're calling regime change.
Otherwise, it'll become another Libya or another. Look what happened in Iraq. Okay, look what happened in Syria. I mean,
come on. What about Egypt?
By the way, do we need to talk about Syria?
Oh, Syria's a mess.
No, wait a minute. Have you heard the rumors? They say that Giuliani was killed on the 30th of December.
Okay, so was he actually killed? I heard that there was an attempt on his life. I don't know if he's dead.
Well, we haven't seen him since.
How viable is that? Because if he is dead, then you might as well just call Syria Turkey.
Well, here's the thing: the attempt was made. His convoy.
Who do you think? Who was it that made the attempt? We know
ISIS,
the attempt was made.
ISIS.
You're certain it was ISIS?
Well, they're saying is ISIS. ISIS say that they did. Okay, we know that. And by the way, this is the same ISIS that hit the two American soldiers a couple of days ago. Yeah. So ISIS is fighting back against Giuliani in Syria. It might have been, by the way, the old Assad people who are actually standing up and revolting against him. But everybody believes it would have been ISIS pulling that off. So, again, that was just a side note. We'll talk about Syria in a minute. But what I'm trying to say is this. The question is what's going to happen in Venezuela now. And that's a whole different kind of question, and we can get into this. But I want to go back to the macro. I want to go back to the fact that there is a new sheriff in town. His name is Donald Trump, and on the whole town is going to be safer because the new sheriff is willing to go out and take a 6-shooter and sit and shoot whoever needs to be shot. And all of the regimes that are on the bully list, on the bad boy list around the world are walking around and saying, we need to take that in consideration. Now, look who's coming out against it. The ones who don't want the government to have power. They don't like the United States of America. And if you don't like the United States of America, whether you're in America or not, then you're going to go against what President Trump just now did. If you do like the United States of America, you do like freedom, you do like democracy, you do like Western civilization, you're going to applaud what he did. But if you're a socialist living in New York, and who came out against? Mamdani.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, and if you're a socialist living in New York, then you are going to be against America using its power in order to defeat evil in the world.
Yeah, the funny thing is that dummy doesn't realize that the freedom that he has to run around and pretend as though he's something big comes from what we do on a day-to-day basis. He's such a fool.
And here again, I'm bringing it to the big level or to the crazy level. I do believe that this is a biblical style event. I mean, I do believe that the United States of America has been given power by God because of its role in the world today. And it has a role or an obligation or a duty, if you want to call it all of those, okay, to be a beacon of light in the Western world. And
Oh no, Trump undoubtedly is the gatekeeper. Okay, there's no other way around it. I mean, the man is, for all intents and purposes, a godsend on a lot of levels, and there's no denying that. There's literally no way of denying it. What we're watching is absolutely historic. What we're seeing is going to be, it is game changing. And it's a big deal. Do you want to listen to your phone or do you want to listen to me?
I just not turned it down.
Look at this guy. He turns up his volume.
No, I want to see I want to see what people are writing.
You could look right there.
I can't see it because of the glasses.
Well, we got to get you new glasses then.
Well, that's a whole different conversation. Anybody wants to pray for me? Pray for me. I can get my eyes back online after I tried out these new glasses.
Okay, so there's just a lot happening with this, and I think that it definitely goes past what the average person is perceiving, right? Like I'll give you a great example of this. When it happened on Saturday, somebody had made a comment to me and then asked me my opinion, and I told them, I said, well, this is undoubtedly an oil play, and the problem is, I don't realize this because this happens sometimes with me. When I say oil play, I realized that an overwhelming majority of the people that hear me say it's an oil play will not understand what I mean when I say oil play. Okay? Because when I say oil play, the average person not attuned to all the things that are happening are going to say, oh, well, yeah, I get that. Venezuela has oil and so on and so forth. So, yeah, it's an oil play, like the president's going and grabbing oil. No, that's actually the smallest part of what I would actually call the oil play. And I'll tell you why. Because when I say oil play, I'm talking about Iran. And much more, by the way, not just Iran. Iran is one aspect of a much more complicated picture. But think about this. Why has Venezuela been so valuable to Iran? Because Venezuela has been, in many ways, an active proxy for Iran's illegal activities as it relates to oil sanctions. Their illegal oil trading, okay, that whole illegal oil trading market relies on the Western Hemisphere. It's no good if the Western Hemisphere isn't buying their oil. But the problem is Venezuela is the only one that actually helps them to mix the crude. It helps them to be able to basically scramble everything when Iranian assets are there. And more importantly, it adds leverage to Iran's position in the Western Hemisphere as it specifically relates to the United States of America. Think about it like this. If I were to shoot a missile from Venezuela that was ballistic to Miami, that's 13 minutes. If I launch it at 8,000 miles an hour, it's 13 minutes. If I were to launch it from there to D.C., it's 18 minutes. So, slow end, it's 22 minutes. My point is that there's always been this underpinning where previous administrations like President Otto Penn have been pumped with the idea that there is an extended amount of leverage that exists within the context of Iran. So you better be careful with what you do. Otherwise, you're going to have another Cuban Missile Crisis. What they don't realize is you already had a Cuban Missile Crisis.
It was a Cuban Missile. This is the modern day Cuban Missile Crisis.
It already existed. It was already there.
So what I feel, I mean, one of the words that came up, or I've been studying this, you know this as well as I do, is the whole Monroe Doctrine. The Monroe Doctrine was way back before World War I when the United States of America was looking at the European powers back then, Germany, England, France, Spain, who were messing and meddling in the affairs in America, in the Americas, And he actually put out a doctrine that says this is our playground. Nobody plays in this ground. We will not allow anybody to go into this. And I think to a certain extent that has been given up after World War II because the United States of America had, how do you say, a complete control over the seas, so they didn't have to deal with it. But now long-range missiles have allowed a threat, and the Monroe Doctrine, I think, is back in play right now. And this is the United States of America saying, this is our background. We will not let anybody who says death to America to set up shop here.
Yeah, undoubtedly.
And I think more than anything, that is part of this, though we do have to tie this all to Iran. And again, if you have a police force that is willing to defend the law and defend what is right. And again, we're at the edge of a diplomatic period where a lot of people were saying defund the police. Now, who's yelling defund the police? The ones who want to walk in the criminal element. If you're not a criminal, what do you care if you defund the police or
100%.
not? So here's the thing. The bad boy club, Iran, basically, Venezuela, China, by the way, we have to talk about whether Turkey is on this in the bad boy club or out of the bad boy club, okay? And I think this is going to be a smackdown for Turkey also.
Yeah, they're eventually going to be in the bad boy club, according to what we read about in the book of in the book of Ezekiel.
Yeah, but right now I don't think Turkey is going to have to decide if they want to be part of the bad boy club or the good boy club, and that's part of what's going on. But what I'm trying to say is, all the people who said defund the police or defund or delegitimize America's use of its economic, military, political power, okay, now they're saying, wait a minute, we need to get on the side of the United States of America. And everybody is now going to line up to be on the side of the good boy club and not on the bad boy club.
Yeah, look, because it's strategic. Right? There's strategy here. And you're speaking about this from the perspective of a person who has military experience and understands the mechanics of how these convergences happen. Okay? If we were to talk about this from the overall where it terminates perspective, is we see more of a viability for the beginning of Ezekiel 38 now than ever before. And by the way, when I say the beginning of Ezekiel 38, I don't mean military action. I mean peace. I mean a peaceful coalition. Because when this attack happens that we read about in Ezekiel 38, Israel does not expect it. There's no world that exists today. Nowhere. Not a single corner where a mouse lives in Israel where Israelis don't expect to be attacked.
And here's the thing.
They all expect
Israel
it.
On the other side of that right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I mean, they all expect it.
If there's anything Israel knows today is that we are now much more expecting attack.
100%.
And everything that's going on in the Middle East, and we can go into that when we go into Iran, actually is indicative of the fact that Israel was much more, how do you say, on the peace or you know the it won't happen side. Now Israel is.
Yeah. So for all the false prophets that are going around saying this is Ezekiel 38, we're on the cusp of it. No, we're not.
No, we're not close.
Not because now, well, let me just say this because I think this is important, right? We are close in one sense, in that we are looking at what appears to be the beginning of the process necessary to create a comfortable peace between these nations.
Do you know that I think the pivotal event, and it's now going through my head right now, that will allow that kind of one world government is the clash between the United States and China has to lose big time.
But see, the thing, my view on that is, and you're right, you're 1,000 zillion % right on that, but the only way that that's going to work is via proxy. And what I mean when I say that, it's never going to be a direct clash between the two. It's going to be a series of engagements that exist where both countries are either independently working towards a specific goal or they're bilaterally engaging in a common aspect of some tertiary function, whereby which they end up diminishing themselves in the process.
Ooh, I'm going to push back on you on this, and I hope we don't.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
I'm going to push back on you because, in a nutshell, I'm seeing what's happening with Iran as indicative of that. Iran has been fighting a proxy war with us for the last 40 years,
Fair enough.
basically, and Iran has gotten smacked, literally smacked down in the proxy war. I mean, the Hezbollah is nothing, the Hamas is nothing, Houthim are on their back foot, and so forth and so on. But Israel still sees Iran as a threat. Until there is a complete smash of Iran, Israel will not take, I don't believe we should either, take the threat level off Iran. So Iran, it's not enough for them to lose the proxy war. And they are on their back foot. Look, their economy's on the face, their military's on the face, diplomatically they're on the face. But they are still, Israel still sees them as a threat, by the way. And we're talking about another round of attacks from Iran.
Yeah, but see, your association with the relationship of Iran as it relates to the ongoing battle back and forth between Israel's existence and the potential of the danger that's created by Iran's actions has absolutely nothing to do with the independent issue of what China is about to do to itself based on reciprocal action.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to say this. For Israel to not see Iran as a threat, it's not enough that they just lose the proxy war. They have to be completely turned upside down.
No. But again, those are, see, but I agree. But that's completely independent from the assertion that you were making regarding China and the United States of America.
Okay.
They're two completely different issues.
So let me see if I can connect.
Because China's relationship, not to cut you off, China's relationship with respect to the strength that it contains exclusively at the subject of energy has everything to do with where Russia is going to go and very little to do with where Iran is going.
By the way, I'm throwing a little tidbit. Greenland is closely connected to that.
Oh, that's oh my goodness! You really want to light a fire, don't you?
Okay. Well, leave it in there. Leave that to where you are. But let's go back. Here's why I'm pushing back at you. Okay, let's say China loses the proxy war, gives up on Taiwan, gives up on aspects of Philippines, and says, okay, we are willing to agree to not actively push for conquering Taiwan. We're going to cut back on our belt and what do you call it, the Silk Road, the Belt Initiative, and so forth and so on, and we'll steadfast down. The Ezekiel 38 piece has to mean that China is completely on, the side of the U.S. as far as economics, military, politics, and diplomacy. And if China stays communist the way it is, I don't see that happening.
Right. Yeah, but again, you're helping to make my point.
Okay.
Repeat what you just said.
China has to completely throw in the white flag economically, technologically, politically, and militarily. It has to throw in the white flag for a one world government where Israel, among others, by the way, is not feeling threatened. As long as China exists, Israel will feel threatened.
But see, you're helping to make my point. Because my point is, in Bible prophecy, I think China becomes inconsequential.
Okay.
I also think in Bible prophecy, the United States of America becomes inconsequential.
So who would be the world powers?
The world power, according to Ezekiel 38, is going to be Russia. Not even Turkey.
Can I throw something that again, this is a whole big discussion. And again, I hope Christy's listening to this because we're having discussions on this today. I don't see a configuration in the world today that would allow a one world power. And the only way that I could see something like this happening is a completely out of the box retune. And I'm throwing it here, and I'm curious to hear people's opinion, where world power is based on something else, not only on economic dominance, and not only on military dominance, but I'm going to say it like this, on information dominance.
Okay. And your mindset is fueled by your experience as a military major. That's what fuels your mindset. And by the way, it's reasonable. It's absolutely perfect and reasonable to expect you to think that way, because that is what the thinking man thinks. It's what the educated man thinks. Okay? It is super, super important to recognize that. The problem here is that there's a bigger issue at hand. And I'm going to base this on Daniel chapter 7, okay? The bigger issue is not the fact that you need what I would appear to be some kind of a conduction or induction, for that matter, that points to world domination. What you need is a unified Europe. Actually, let me take it a step further. You need a unified Western Europe that unifies around a serious and common problem. The serious and common problem is what's happening with Islam.
Yep.
What will become even more serious and common is what's happening with the dollar, the euro, for lack of a better term. And what's even more serious and uniquely common is where it's all going to go when it culminates into the clash between what I believe is a healthy nationalistic perspective versus the mechanism of socialism that drives the unity that exists within Europe. Once Europe grows strong, it becomes the legs that feed the toes and the feet that we read about in the book of Daniel. That's all you need.
You would need a unified Europe, United States, and China.
I don't think you would.
How do you get a one-world government without that?
I don't, because United States and China becomes inconsequential. In other words, in order to see the pattern effectuate itself correctly, all you need is the stronger Western Europe. You don't need to worry about the United States, because the United States is inconsequential in Bible prophecy, and you certainly don't need to worry about China for the same reason.
Okay, so Europe becomes major power, major player, controlling the rest of the world.
I wouldn't even say major power and major player. I would say all you need to see in Europe is a sign that they're unifying with the intent to create that function. You don't even need to see it happening. All you need to do is you need to see the
European Union become...
the mechanism of coercion. All you need to do is you need to see it beginning to assemble.
A European Union that comes together?
And I base that on what the Bible tells me.
Okay, I'm again, you're going to the prophecy. I'm looking at what would bring Europe together, and why would that completely diminish the two world powers that are actually on both sides of Europe?
Because in order for Europe to come together the way that they need to, in order to sustain its existence, or to be able to last the way they need to be able to last, they have to get rid of the problem that they're seeing with Islam, number one. They have to be able to deal with the consequential aspects that hold back their purposes in free speech. So they're going to have to eventually eliminate that. Check. Okay? And then the other thing that has to happen is they have to learn how to function independently of the United States with respect to reliability for energy. It's already happening. If Venezuela's situation decapitates Iran, all that does is help Russia. Because this is what's going to end up happening. With Venezuela no longer becoming the tool that Iran can utilize, number one, and also being capped back with control by the United States because of its restoration project, whatever you want to call it, it's going to restabilize the European market. Once the European market restabilizes, it will revert back to the purchase of oil from Russia, especially if Russia responds to the incentive that the President of the United States is giving Russia by ending the war with the stripper boy. And once that ends up happening, once Zelensky and Putin sign and it's all over with, then Putin becomes the major player for energy within the context of Europe. By the way, Putin and Israel has a bigger leg up on Putin because of the natural gas issue and because of the offshore reserves that Israel holds that's across the way from Lebanon in the Mediterranean. You know, the one that Bennett wanted to give away.
No, Bennett wants to give away everything.
He's an idiot. But I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be disrespectful.
By the way, side note, I can't help, but do you know that if there are elections in Israel, Bibi takes with the Likud?
100%.
I think it's 67 or 68.
Oh, I heard 69.
On the right side?
Yeah.
Well,
that's what I heard.
Depending on how much of the Arabs, how much of the Haredim, how much of the religious he wants to put into the government. I mean, if he could put a government in place that doesn't need...
I heard 67 without the religious right. That's what I heard. Is that correct?
That's what that's what we're thinking about. But we're kind of bouncing all over the place. I want to go back to, okay, Trump hit Maduro, hit Venezuela, took the president away and said, I am going to do what's American interest in the world according to the way I see it. And I will use my power, my economics, my diplomacy. And you have to understand, for him to be able to do that, he had to realize, or he had to put Europe in place. He had to say, you're going to have to shut up about this and tell the rest of the world. He has to tell Putin, you're going to have to shut up about this. He told China, you have to shut up about this. I'm going to do this. So he is now the one world sheriff. I'm not going to say the one world government,
100%,
but one world sheriff.
100%.
Okay. I want to tie that into Iran. And let's make the connection between Venezuela and Iran.
Yep.
Okay? The connection between Venezuela and Iran basically starts off with the bad boy club. Basically, we're all bad boys. You know, the United States doesn't like you and doesn't like me, so let's do this together. It is the we have these resources, but you know we're going to be using them for our own power. So I mean, Iran has untapped resources. Venezuela has untapped resources. So it's there to be used. And basically, they were living off each other. I mean, Iran was selling oil, back and forth. I mean, there were Hezbollah bases in Venezuela, if we remember this. And basically that's been broken. So Iran is even more isolated than they were before. Iran is isolated economically. They're isolated diplomatically.
Right.
They're isolated in any way, shape, or form. Khamenei must be quivering in his bomb shelter right now.
Well, we know he is, because keep this in mind. First of all, we haven't heard from him in God knows how long, number one. And the last time we did hear from him, which was actually relatively recently, he was scared.
Yeah.
He came out, you could hear it in his voice, number one. Number two, and perhaps more consequentially, he's already given instruction to the banks. He has told the banks. And then number three, and this one probably is the biggest one to me, is we're seeing more of an uprising in the streets right now in Iran since 2009, and we're seeing less violence as a result of it. Which means he's scared out of his brain.
Oh,
because the president of the United States said, you start hurting these protesters, we're going to bomb you.
Yeah, so what he cannot do is put down the protests with all of the force that he can, which is why they're treating the protesters with kid gloves. I don't know if you know that. But here's the thing. According to, by the way, Israeli sources, he's already picked out the condominium in the building next to Assad.
100% true.
They're already there. But I'm not sure Iran is going to fall. And I mean, I'm listening to the deeper commentaries on the Israeli side and on the bigger thing.
What keeps you so sure? What keeps you convinced that Iran isn't going to fall? Because let me ask you this question, and this is meant to be objective, even though it would appear to be rhetorical in nature, okay? Do you think for a second that Khamenei's son has the strength to care? No. And do you think for a second that the people of Iran trust him? No.
No. So we're going to see what...
Does the IRGC trust him?
I think so.
No.
To a certain,
no
I mean, no,
way.
their power is based on him. But what I'm going to say is this. I heard somebody ask, why did Trump only take Maduro and not take the whole of the government? Why not take over the whole government?
Which, in my opinion, I heard that question when it got voiced to Rubio during Meet the Press.
Mm-hmm.
That may be the single greatest piece of evidence that the woman that interviewed him is incredibly stupid.
So
that might be one of the dumbest, most uneducated monkey questions I've probably ever heard someone ask Rubio.
So let's tie that into Iran, okay? And I'm going to put it like this. The reason I don't think Iran is going to fall yet, okay, is there is not a figurehead that the Iranian opposition is able, willing, or is going to rally around. The son of the Shah, okay, I do not think is the figurehead that will bring Iran to its knees. And unless something else changes, unless somebody rises up from inside.
Can I just say this? Can I just stop and just say that the Shah's son is so disappointing to me?
Oh.
I'm so disappointed in him.
I mean, no.
All the early rhetoric, he's showing up on Pat Bet David, going on these shows, talking about how he wants to start, he really wants to see Iran change and blah, 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 and join me and blah, blah. And now what's going on?
The Shah of Iran was a dictatorship. It was a despot regime.
But can I ask you a question? Would you rather have the Shah leading Iran, or would you rather have Khomeini?
Khomeini is
no, I'm talking
much,
about
much
Khomeini.
worse. Oh,
Not
okay.
Khomeini.
No, I get you, and I totally agree. The only thing is, it would be like returning the son of Marcos to Philippines. It would be like returning a nephew of Pinochet to Argentina. I don't think this will work.
It's not even about returning him into Iran. It's about take the institutional memory that you have and make it work. Even if you're hiding in the United States somewhere, come on.
Yeah.
Man up.
Well, that's the problem. He's not there. So what we're lacking is, and what do you think? What kind of figure would stand up in Iran today and say, follow me? It would have to be somebody who is Muslim, I think, is Shiite, is Persian, all right, but has no connection to the regime.
Yeah, I mean, how do you propose that works?
The commander-in-chief of not the Revolutionary Guard, but the commander-in-chief of the Iranian army, for instance, stands up and says to the army, follow me, we will overthrow the government. That's what needs to happen right now in Iran. And correct me if I'm wrong, I might be off, and again, I will be judged by this idea, but if the commander or a high-ranking officer in the military stands up and says, okay, I'm willing to take this on, then that would be something. If the military follows him, not the Revolutionary Guard, but the military itself. But I don't know. I don't know if you know. There's a separation between the Republican the Guard in Iran and the military itself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the IRGC is completely different from the military.
So if a general of the military stands up and says, follow me, then that would bring the downfall of Iran. Until that is found, I don't see Iran folding. I see them weaseling. I see them wiggling. I see them saying, okay, we will give up our ballistic missiles. We will give up the 888 pounds. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
The 888
pounds. The nuclear material.
The nuclear material that they have. I just figured out because it's 400 kilo.
Yeah, right.
In pounds is 888 pounds.
You don't think that was destroyed?
No, I don't think so. I mean, too many people and too many people in Israel are worried about it. I mean, we know that the Mossad has a whole unit that is dedicated to finding that and kind of dealing with that. So I think if it was destroyed, then we would have known about it, and it would have been. I mean, I think that would be like the holy. That would be like the Holy Grail.
But can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If you're Israel, and I'm not saying that it's wrong, but if you're Israel and you want to get rid of your enemy,
you would leave that up in the air.
You would leave it up in the air.
Yeah.
Especially if you knew it was destroyed.
I understand.
Because it's a strategic advantage knowing that it is destroyed, so it's not a threat, but it still becomes a good cover internationally for what you're doing in trying to completely eliminate the possibility of them coming back. And I actually think that the Mossad
does things like that.
Well, they do. Of course, they do things like that. But I think they'd be justified in doing that.
Interesting. Let's do a quick. Let's say tomorrow, it is destroyed. Let's say we find verifiable evidence.
Yeah, right.
That it is destroyed. What would change? Would the United States of America be willing to accept an Iran, be willing more to accept an Iran without the nuclear material than it would with?
No. Well,
I mean, they would come to Trump and say, we don't have the material.
I don't think it's a viable question. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not trying to minimize the question. I think the premise of the question is wrong. I don't think nuclear material has much to do with the viability of an accepted relationship as part of a unit. The bigger issue is death to America, death to Israel.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is I think if we could destroy it and tell the world Iran is not a threat anymore, I think probably we would, but I might be wrong on this. I'm leaving it up in the air. But here's my question now, okay? Let's say the nuclear issue is not a viable threat, but if there's anything that we learned from the last round with Iran, that their ballistic capability is a threat.
100%.
Is a threat. And Israel will not sleep quietly while Iran has the ability or the capability to launch ballistic missiles. Now, we don't think they have the amount of missiles, and we don't think, by the way, what was hit more than anything in the 12-day war were the launchers as much as the ballistic
100%.
missiles themselves.
And they'd be stupid if they didn't do that.
Okay.
You're kind of forced into that mechanism. You have to do that. Because here's the thing. You can have all the nuclear material in the world, but if you don't have the launching mechanism for it, you're already sitting at the advantageous area, which is why Israel was so smart to destroy the capacity of the fuel-making ability, not only in Iran, but also in the southern portion of the Arabian Peninsula, in Yemen. That was a very smart thing for them to do.
Oh, totally. I mean, and think about this. Israel is saying, we need to fight the proxy war. Israel is creating its proxies right now. What's happening in Cyprus? What's happening in Greece? What's happening in the Horn of Africa? Okay, this is Israel's putting out its proxies abilities and saying also, by the way, to President Trump and to the whole Abrahamic Accords, okay, I mean, you'll do this when you do this. We'll keep on doing what we need to do anyway. And I think that is more than anything what we're going to see in 2026. And again, if I can plug myself, go to the Balagan Connection. I put up a video, I think, the day before yesterday in the evening that talked about this dynamic inside the Middle East. There's a proxy war, a Cold War that is now going to be started on. There's going to be vying. The main players are going to be Iran, but Turkey is becoming a bigger player. And the whole Greek-Turkish issue is going to become more. And here's what I'm thinking. I'm kind of half thinking that we're going to see clashes on the border in Cyprus between Greek Cyprus and Turkish Cyprus sometime soon.
I do think that's true. I do think that that's going to be accentuated by the dynamic that currently exists between Libya within its internal civil war, the interests of Russia, what's happening with the coalition that they're going to be making or they have already made with Turkey, and the interest that Turkey has in maintaining stability in its colonization effort of Syria. You can't avoid it. You absolutely cannot avoid it. And by the way, what would be the final nail in the coffin that nobody wants to talk about right now is the DMZ that's gone between Azerbaijan and Armenia. Which, by the way, is not gone because someone decided to violate some sort of international order or rule. It's gone because of the peace treaty that ended up getting signed between them without the necessary sustenance force that keeps outside people from coming in, especially the area around the Baltics.
We didn't mention Azerbaijan as an Israeli proxy.
Yeah, but
it is,
I mean,
to a
let's
certain
really think
extent,
about it.
It is.
It kind of has become an Israeli proxy. And by the way, Turkey knows it, Turkey understands it, and Turkey doesn't seem to really care about it.
Okay,
Because Turkey knows it has to maintain that semblance of, let's just say, proper disposition. They have to have that level of diplomacy with Azerbaijan if they can even hope to be able to achieve the kind of colonization they want to achieve in Syria, especially along Turkey's southern border, near the western side, where the problems are with the Kurds and with the Druze.
Is there any way we can pull up a map and show where Azerbaijan is in relative to Iran and to Turkey?
Yeah, I can do that.
And let's see, while you're doing that, see if I can explain something.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows anything about what happened in Iran in the 12-day war, and what's been happening in Iran in the last period, knows that for Israeli F-35 fighters to fly all the way from Israel to Iran and move around in Iran and do this, the air defense in Iran had to be taken out. For the air defense in Iran to be taken out, and we know that part of the reason it was taken out is because Iranian air defense assets were taken out by drones. Some of them actually launched inside Iran that hit, air defense assets, but some of them launched from outside of Iran that actually took out assets and became a base or a strategic base in the war of Israel against Iran. And a lot of people don't really know, and I can't really say everything that I know about it, that Azerbaijan played a massive role in allowing Israel to attack Iran. One of the roles, without going into this, is to be the place that if a pilot gets hit, you need to send in people that are going to save the pilot in enemy territory. And you can't do that from Israel. You have to do that from somewhere closer to the area of control. What I'm trying to say is this: Azerbaijan was the strategic, logistic, intelligence connection, that Israel used in its war against Iran. Am I clear? Now, do we have the map up?
Yeah, I just want to get it to where everybody can actually see, because the map's going to be a little tricky. But I know what I'll do. Yes.
Well, you can see Iran on the right.
Yeah. Let me do this. Let me cut over to the map here, and then let me open up where we are. Okay, so just so that everybody understands, see where the mouse is really big, where the mouse is really big,
this
Israel. Is Israel, So follow my mouse. I'm going to shake it, This is Armenia. This is Azerbaijan, This is Turkey, right? This is the area. Let me just. This is the area of the Caspian Sea. This is the Black Sea. This is the area, by the way, that we oftentimes refer to the Baltics. I should also point this out because it's really, really important. This is also the region of Magog. So, just so everybody understands the biblical terms, because they are unique and they are important. So this is Israel here, so everybody understands, This is all of Turkey. This is Syria. This is Iraq. Here's Armenia and Azerbaijan.
Show us Iran.
Look at the proximity, and then Iran, of course, is over here to the south and to the east, where you see my mouse. Okay. So this becomes very important. By the way, Tehran, contrary to popular belief, is way closer to the Caspian than it actually is to the Persian Gulf.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks of the Caspian Sea when they think of Tehran or Iran, and that's a very important thing to understand. Look at where Tehran is right here. Let me just wave this. There it is. And look at where the Caspian is. Look at the proximity of Azerbaijan.
And Armenia.
It's a straight shot. It's like literally, if you wanted to launch something off the course of Baku and you wanted to go right to Iran, imagine what that would look like.
Okay. And here, I need you to look at the map again a minute, and I want you to connect this. Do you see the importance of Azerbaijan in the attack on Iran. Meaning it was used. I know that we had Israeli military units there, including military hospitals and everything, in case of an attack. And that's only part of what. I mean, think about the fact that planes need to refuel and all kinds of stuff like that. Now, look at where Azerbaijan is in relation to Iran, and look at where Azerbaijan is in relation to Turkey. An Israeli asset in Turkey's backyard is a major threat for Turkey, just like it's a major threat for Iran.
And I need everybody to understand this, because I talked about this, the absence of a DMZ, okay? What we would call a demilitarized zone, or a gap that keeps certain forces away from each other, okay? When Armenia was in direct conflict with Azerbaijan, Armenia served as a natural DMZ between Turkey and Azerbaijan. Okay? So if there was a conflict of interest between Turkey and Azerbaijan based on a disagreement with respect to Israel, then Armenia became the beating point. By the way, this is the reason why I think anybody who studies Bible prophecy, is familiar with the region, understands anything, should always remind the people about the Christians that died in droves in Armenia.
Oh.
Because the Armenians have become the punching bag of both sides, of the Turks and of the Azerbaijanis.
By the way, side note that I find fascinating, I talked to an Armenian American, very old, who lives in California, who told stories of her Armenian grandmother, who was actually, and part of the stories of the Armenian Holocaust that they went through.
Oh, terrible.
And I don't know. I actually wanted to get a video camera and film her telling her, because she's already 90-something years old, and her story's going to be lost. But here's the thing. I need people to look at the map a minute and say this. Turkey is on the Black Sea, Mediterranean on one side, Black Sea on the other side. But the only way that Russia gets from the Black Sea to the Mediterranean is through Istanbul. On the other hand, if a Russian ship goes from Istanbul through the Bosphorus, it has to go through Greek territorial waters in order to reach the Mediterranean. So Turkey is being choked by Greece and Cyprus on the north, on the east, on the west, and on the south. And think about this. Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan are pro-Israel. And if you look at Turkey, Turkey's being pressed on the other side by these through Turkestan, Azerbaijan. Turkey must be feeling very much under threat right now by Greece and Israel on one side and Azerbaijan on the other side. And that's why Turkey has been reaching out to Iran and saying, we don't want Iran to completely fall apart, because we need some kind of positive aspect, because Turkey is losing its control. And that's why Syria becomes so important.
Well, and it, correctly so, very aptly put, because here's the thing. The United States of America, and this is the brilliance in our president, is in essence using Turkey, which I do believe is still very Turkey is using Syria, which I still do believe is somewhat inconsequential, because we know it will always serve as a function of proxy for somebody. Based on what the Bible tells us, Syria becomes the stomping ground. When the attacks from the north take place, you guys, okay, and they go here into Israel, okay, and they're all coming from up here, okay, which basically, I have to expand this down, which is Russia. Okay, and if they're all coming from all of the stands, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, this is all of this is all Magog over here. Okay, just to show you an idea where Russia is, so you can understand the sheer size of Russia. Look at all this. They're coming from the north. If they're coming from the north and they're picking up Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan and Turkmenistan and Afghanistan and Pakistan, if they're all coming through there and Iran joins them, okay, they're all going to come in from the north of Iran, probably from off the Caspian, all the way through where the Azerbaijanis are, all this area, they're going to cut straight through in from Syria. Syria is going to become the staging point. They're going to enter from Syria into Israel. And don't get me wrong here. You still have enemies from the south.
Yep.
That will join them. You have Libya, you have
Egypt,
Sudan, you have Ethiopia. Egypt won't be an enemy. Egypt, according to Ezekiel 38, they're not even mentioned. Matter of fact, Egypt becomes a liberating force to a degree. They become a friend to Israel, which, by the way, makes perfect sense to me because Egypt was the liberator for the Messiah when he came the first time. And Egypt will be used by God as a tool by him in the second coming of Christ. I really believe that.
I can't help but say, I mean, this is something that I do on tours all the time. I need you to look at the map a minute and show us where Israel is a minute. Put the mouse on Israel.
Let me just zoom in just a little bit.
That's Israel. Where you see the mouse is there. Leave it like that. Do you understand that God put us in one of the most
look at the hostile area.
One of the most bottleneck, strategic, connecting the different aspects of the world, and he put little tiny Israel. Not so little tiny, but I mean,
look at the Sinai.
Look at where we are. We're the land bridge that connects Asia, Europe, and Africa. We are the connector. And when the Bible talks about, the final battle taking place literally in the valley of the mountain of Megiddo in the middle of Israel, when you zoom out, you can understand how that becomes the focal point for all this different political and military dynamic. And it's amazing when you understand the geography and you superimpose the Bible, or do the opposite. Understand the Bible and superimpose the geography. You see that the two, I'm going to say, slides actually sit one exactly on top of the other. And I find that fascinating.
And look at the neighbors. I mean, look at the neighbors. Yep. It's remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable.
So here's a question that came up while I was kind of explaining this. The island of Cyprus, and you can see very interesting on the map, the island of Cyprus right here. The island of Cyprus is mentioned in the New Testament in a couple of places. Do you remember where? And I think in connection with Paul.
Oh, yeah, several places. Yeah, sure.
I think in connection with Paul.
Yeah.
And Cyprus is mentioned, I think, in what I find fascinating, if I remember correctly, is Paul was shipwrecked on his final route off the coast to Cyprus.
Yep.
And again, sometimes I think you can't really make this stuff up, that Paul, in his journeys, the place where he becomes shipwrecked is the island of Cyprus, that if you look at it correctly right now, the way we're looking right now, is going to be a massive player in what's going to be happening.
Yeah, 100%. And let me see here. Yeah, Acts chapter 4. Verse 36, when Barnabas is introduced as the Levite from the country of Cyprus, if you remember.
Interesting.
Acts chapter 11, where the believers are scattered after persecution following Stephen's death. They traveled as far as Phoenicia, Cyprus. Cyprus is mentioned. And Antioch, if you remember.
Antioch.
Acts chapter 11, Antioch, right? And then Acts chapter 11, verse 20, so it's the next verse, where some men from Cyprus and Cyrene came to Antioch and began preaching the Lord Jesus Christ to the Greeks, because that was the Apostle Paul's ministry. By the way, outreach to the Gentiles was connected to believers from Cyprus. Okay,
that is fascinating.
Which is in Acts chapter 11, verse 20. Acts chapter 13, verse 4 and 12, Paul and Barnabas begin their first missionary journey by sailing to Cyprus. That's what you can actually read it here.
Can you move the mouse a minute till we get to see where Cyprus is on the map?
Oh yeah, sorry. It's here. Let me.
Just close that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's zoom back in so we see. And what I'm trying to say is, when you look at the place where Cyprus is, in front of Syria, in front of Turkey, in front of Lebanon, and connected to Israel, I think Cyprus is going to be a much bigger player. And a quick reminder, half of Cyprus is Turkish.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And
Today.
And the other is Greek. And also,
and finally,
and yeah, so say this. So Acts 13, that final verse, Cyprus becomes the launching ground, basically, for all of the ministry to the Gentiles that goes north into Asia Minor and further south into the possible southern African coast, which gets mentioned loosely. Acts chapter 15, which I believe is the last place you see Cyprus mentioned in Acts. Paul and Barnabas part their ways because they're arguing over John Mark, and Barnabas takes Mark and sails to Cyprus.
Wow.
Which, by the way, shows us the continual ministry in Cyprus, which is deeply consequential. By the way,
I get goosebumps just talking how the modern geopolitical connects to the biblical. I mean,
it's so true. Like anybody who knows, so the reason why he has goosebumps, everybody, and I want you to see this. The reason why he has goosebumps is because today, Cyprus is viewed not only by the world this way, but especially by Jews as the bridge gap, okay, between them and non-Jews, between the Gentile world, specifically in the Mediterranean. Cyprus is still that place.
But here's the thing.
It's amazing.
Greek Cyprus is becoming an ally, a proxy of Israel.
A huge one.
There you go.
Huge, because they see the value in the relationship.
Well, look at the map. Zoom out a little bit. I mean, just so we get the map so we can connect. So if there's a coming battle between Israel
let me connect back to the map. So hold on.
Turkey.
Because the audience needs to see it again.
There you go.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
If there's a coming battle between Israel and Turkey, okay, just zoom out a bit. Look where Cyprus is.
Oh, I know.
I mean, look, that is going to be the battlefield. And it's not by chance in this new agreement that they were talking about signing between Greece, Israel, and Cyprus. There was talk about a base on Cyprus, actually, that will be the first reaction of any attack from Turkey.
And by the way, I want you guys to see the validity of what he's saying here, the importance of what he's saying. This is one of the major reasons why, and don't ever call Erdogan stupid. This is one of the major reasons why Erdogan so badly wants full control over Syria. Because with full control over Syria, if full-on war happens between Turkey and Israel, which we know won't without the coalition in Ezekiel 38, but if it does happen, okay, that means Turkey is up here, Israel is down here. Guess where their middle point is between their wars?
It's going to be the focal point.
If you have Syria here and you control Syria, you hold Cyprus at bay from the east, you hold them from the north, and you arguably hold them from the west. Now, if Greece has anything to do with it, you have no position in the west. And if Egypt has anything to do with it, as well as Israel, you have no position from the south. So Syria becomes super, super important because if I have control over Syria and I'm Turkey, then I have my flank protected, which means I take Lebanon out of the picture. Lebanon has nothing to do with our proxy battle, as we would call it, because they understand that neutrality within the context of a negative disposition between both countries will end up becoming their very salvation. It becomes a neutral resting spot.
So just look at all of this playing out.
Oops, why did I do that?
One of the things that I don't know if I've mentioned before, I actually lived on Cyprus for 2 years.
Yeah, well, you were a diplomat. I remember this.
Well, no, what I did was not diplomatic, but yes, I did have a diplomatic passport.
Well, I'm going to call you a diplomat just for
There
fun
we go.
because I know you don't like that designation, so I'm just going to keep calling. Call Diplomat Dave. Let's just call him Diplomat Dave, everybody.
So I lived in Nicosia, which actually is cut into two. It's like and here's a lot of things a lot of people don't understand. Cyprus is occupied territory, in this case occupied by Turkey. And people need to remember that. So anyway, that was how the whole geopolitics is actually tying in together. And let's go back to where we started off. I don't think Iran is about to change regimes yet. What do you think?
I think we could see regime change within a month.
Okay.
Now, I could be dead wrong about it, man.
No,
but I've never really felt this way before.
Well, we both could be dead wrong. I mean, a month from now, we're going to be sitting here and we'll know who's dead wrong. Okay, but I think as long as Khamenei is alive, I don't think he'd be...
What's to say he's going to be alive?
Well, he is, what, 86?
He's in terrible shape.
86. He's
in
86.
terrible
He's
shape.
86 years old.
He was already running on darn near life support. He's already in terrible shape.
So yeah, agreed. If he dies natural death, I think that would be, if he has a heart attack tomorrow and dies, I think that would be maybe the swing point. If Israel kills him or America kills him, or if we do a Delta Force raid on Tehran, I don't think the Iranian people, the Persian people with all their pride, would allow us to instigate a regime change. But if he dies of natural causes right now, that might be the tipping point. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, this is this is interesting. This one is interesting. By the way, I forgot to ask you. I'm going to ask you now because every single time I think I ask you, I forget. Did I give you a signed book of my? Did I give you my signed book yet?
Well, I have a book, but I haven't gotten a signed book.
No. I have to give you a signed book.
Okay, I know.
Okay, all right. I have to.
And we have to do it today because I want to take it with me on the cruise.
Good. I'm going to do it. I'm going to sign it.
cruise.
I'm going to give. What do you think? So, have you read it?
No, not yet. I'm saying I'm giving the cruise to this. So on the cruise, that's
I think you'll like it. It's oversimplified. It's in basic language so that everybody will understand.
Did you mention me?
Yes.
There you go.
In the book, I talk about you 3 or 4 times actually.
So
yeah.
now you all have to read. If you don't have your book, now's the time to get it.
It's a good book, you guys.
Okay, so do you understand that everything that we've talked about today kind of culminates in Revelation? I mean, kind of comes together.
Oh, absolutely.
So the question I'm having, by the way, and I'm discussing is how far we are. And James, what do you think about the people that say, "Oh, it's happening tomorrow"? I mean, this is the one world peace that we're talking about.
I don't think I understand your question. Explain to me again.
So when people say, okay, Israel's taken on Iran and Iran's been put in its place, basically then we're moving towards a one world peace, and that means we're getting very, very close to Ezekiel 38.
Look, I would say, I would say we're getting one step closer. Does that mean that it's going to happen, it's going to happen tomorrow? No, but that still does not keep us further away from the rapture. The rapture could happen tomorrow.
No, the rapture is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, at any point. But yes, look, I'm not looking for conflict. If I want to look for Ezekiel 38, I'm looking for peace. When this Middle East deal was made, I told everybody we just got one step closer to Ezekiel 38. I was like, what? How could that be? What? I mean, there's no God. Well, yeah. Because peace is the prerequisite for the execution of Ezekiel 38. Yeah. And by the way, it has to be some form of durable peace. It can't be temporary. It has to be the type of durability where Israel says, we don't need fences anymore.
Okay.
What do you think it's going to take for Israelis to do that?
We're so deep in PTSD. I mean, I've been talking to
I've
been talking to some of the guys from the Army now lately, and no, I mean, they're all saying, okay, this is what I remember. I was in uniform when Dolev was born. Dolev is my youngest son, and I remember rushing out. We were actually in El Arub, which is right next to Hebron. I was in Judea, literally on military duty. I got a beeper back then. I rushed. Rushed. We didn't have phones, cell phones, but I take it. Yeah, beepers are scary things right now. Anyway, I got a beeper. I rushed to the hospital, and I actually walked into the hospital in uniform with a rifle on my back. Put the rifle in the corner of the room, scrubbed myself, and actually watched Dolev be born in uniform. And I remember saying to myself, I do pray and hope that by the time he's old enough, he will not have to walk around with a rifle on his back in uniform. I think that we all realize today that our children our grandchildren are going to have to walk in uniform with a rifle on their back. Most Israelis have given up the hope that we're not going to have to live on our sword for generations to come, as of now.
So sad.
As of now.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. And I actually think that's where you get your hesitance about Iran from, because you've lived through a long period of time as a soldier and as an officer where you have seen it get very close to that, but then all it did was get worse. You watched what happened in 79. You watched what happened in 82. You watched what happened in 88. You watched what happened in 91. You watched what happened in 95. You watched what happened in 99?
What,
99?
The second Intifada? Yeah.
99?
Yeah, I was in it.
Yeah. And well, you were very much in it. And
But
yeah,
I when I say I was in it, I was sitting in a Jeep or what do you call it, command vehicle.
Yeah.
We had these metal grates on the front window, and I still remember this huge guy picking up a block like this and running in front of the Jeep and throwing it at my face, sitting inside the Jeep. It hit the metal grate, and it got through enough that it actually broke the window.
Oh my God!
And he looked me in the eyes. He literally looked me in the eyes. It was this big, and that's how close I was in the second Intifada.
Wow, that's wild. And some of the stories that come from that, man, is just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable.
Well, here's what most Israelis, me among them, okay. And again, maybe I'm just an example of my people, but we realized how much we're hated.
Oh, come on.
We were thinking.
I mean, the Bible said it.
We were thinking again. This is me. I mean, I sat down. You know this, and I've said this before. I was on the left side of the political. I mean, the Palestinians are going to have to reach an agreement. The Arab world's going to have to accept our existence.
You know better.
Well, and today we know better. I mean, I should have known better back then. I know better definitely right now.
Yeah. I mean, the world in which look, bro, the world in which we live right now is purely solidified by all the Bible teaches us in this. And I'm telling you, bro, I like, I'm saying this beyond a shadow of a doubt. Like, I'm saying this because this is so important for us to be able to understand. I cannot emphasize how accurate the Bible has been in its prediction with respect to how Israel will be treated.
Fascinating. Can I kind of swerve a little bit and go back to what we talked about in the beginning? Venezuela?
Absolutely.
Okay. I want to see what you think about who we're looking at the American political scene, and specifically I'm talking about the left and the right wing. Who has supported this and who has come out against the Venezuela event?
The cuckoos have supported it. I mean, have come against it.
I mean, am I the only
like
one
the ones that want boys and girls restrooms and stuff?
Am I the only one who sees it like that? That you can see the divide. By the way, am I the only one that sees that the ones who are against what President Trump did by bringing this terrible dictator, drug runner, killer to justice are the same ones that are against Israel?
Oh yeah, Come on, bro.
Here's another connection.
I mean, it's not even a question. It's not even a question, brother.
Again, look at Israel being the indicator of who you should support or who supports you and who doesn't. I mean, look at this again. It is. I don't know. But here's my problem. What about the right part of the MAGA? What did Tucker say about Venezuela?
I don't know. But
I'm
what I'm guessing. You know what? It's a good question. Honest to goodness, I don't know. I don't know.
Does anybody know from the people listening to us what he said about what happened in Venezuela? I'm curious to know what he said. By the way, Kaddis has already blamed Israel.
Kaddis has actually already blamed Turning Point USA and Erica Kirk for what happened in Venezuela.
Somebody's saying that Tucker and Kaddis went cuckoo.
Yeah. I mean, it's what am I going to say, bro? I mean, what it's completely cuckoo. How in the world can you look at what happened in Venezuela and say that was bad for our country? Maybe I'm just completely, maybe I'm a completely ignorant man that doesn't know his head from his rear.
Okay, so maybe I'm trying to tie something in here, and again, let's go back to where we talked about the fact that he was brought to New York. He wasn't brought to Guantanamo Bay. He wasn't brought to Florida. He wasn't brought to Washington. He was brought to New York. And we talked about the fact that the mayor of New York actually was 2 miles away from the place that he was held. But I want to say something else that was a couple of miles away from where he's held, and that is the United Nations building in New York. And Trump is saying to everybody in the United Nations building, look at what's going on, I think. He was driven in they opened the doors of the car as he was driving through the streets of New York. And
do you think New York was the president's way of just slapping Mamdani in the face?
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, here's the thing. This is the same New York that Mamdani said that if Netanyahu came there, he would arrest him. He brought this drug dealer coming through.
Oh, my sister's giving me the update here. Oh, what a shame. She says Tucker has been very wrong on Venezuela. He's defended Maduro as someone who is socially conservative, and he totally avoids the fact that he's a communist and a dictator. It's actually shocking.
Okay,
and if you're really concerned with drugs,
thank you, Jane.
If you're really concerned with drugs affecting our people, why wouldn't Maduro be a celebration for you? Let me understand that.
Because it's not about the drugs, it's not about the people. It's about something else. I mean, I don't want a strong America. I don't want a strong administration. I don't want a strong individual. I mean, look at what Mamdani said. He said, we're going to go against rugged individualism, and we're going to kind of address or embrace, how do you say, collectivism. That's what Mamdani. And again, this is the core issue. And I want people to realize the same people who are against Israel are against Venezuela. It comes together. Zachariah was right. Israel is going to become the discerning factor. Israel's to become...
Jerusalem is already the stumbling block, bro.
There you go. And here's the thing.
We already know it.
We're seeing even in this event with Venezuela, okay, that the anti-Israel camp is also the anti-taking control of what's going on camp. The 100%. Anti-America, I mean, they're calling themselves America First, but here's America doing what's in America's interest, and they can't really see it. And again, if it doesn't line up with their idea, who gets blamed?
But here's my question on this, bro. Here's my question on this. Honestly, like help me understand it, okay? What do people that support Maduro's cause get out of this? And I'm not just talking about like the average person. You know, the average person, you could just pawn it off as ignorance, not ignorance, okay? Like they're just ignorant. Okay, what does somebody like a social media influencer get out of it?
Okay, from the left or the right?
From the right. From the right.
Okay, I
don't want to without mentioning names or anything. What? I've always loved Tucker Carlson. I've always cared about him. But like honestly, like
what
is
he
question?
Getting out of this?
Like what would he get out of this?
There's a whole group of people on the right that believe in American. How do you say? What was it called? The doctrine when they didn't want to get into World War I or World War II? Isolationism. America should be isolated. We've got the two oceans, one on the right, one on the left. We shouldn't be dealing with other things outside. Zoom in on what's happening to America. Zoom in. Don't project your power, your influence anywhere else. That doesn't matter. Everything actually, it's the snail doctrine. Okay, let's all move in. I think Tucker Carlson is an isolationist. In World War II, he would have been against getting into World War II, against Nazi Germany, and he would have sat in the United States of America until Nazi Germany became such a big issue that it would have been a threat to America. And America took on Nazi Germany before it became a bigger threat. Tucker Carlson would have been one of the people who said, we don't want to get into other people's wars. Why should we get into other people's wars? I think to a certain extent we're seeing a version of that today.
Right.
I don't know if you remember, America didn't want to get into World War II. I mean, one of the things but I'm sure that Hitler smacked Imperial Japan, basically saying, why did you pull America into the war? We could have gotten this war much, much further if you had not attacked Pearl Harbor. I mean, think about what the world would have looked like if Pearl Harbor had not been attacked. If Japan had continued to conquer all the little pieces of the Pacific Ocean, Hitler had continued to conquer all of Europe, and Tucker Carlson people would have sat in the middle and said, we don't want to get into this.
Okay,
I should write a book about
that. You probably should write a book because because here's my question, right? When one of the lessons that we learned from World War II was, by the grace of God, he used the United States of America to fix a serious problem. Okay, but were we or were we not erroneous to not get involved when we wanted? Like, we probably should have jumped in before, because had we jumped in earlier, as difficult as this may sound, we could have saved a lot of casualties.
Oh, so I'm going to say this: if America hadn't held out as long as it held out in Europe, probably 2 or 3 million Jews would still be alive.
Yeah, and Pearl Harbor wouldn't have happened.
You would have not have had to do the D-Day thing,
right?
Okay,
France,
which is amazing. Which is amazing, by the way. I mean, if you ever go to Europe, if you ever go to France, go and sit on Omaha Beach and kind of get a connection to that. I mean, what happened there is the United States of America and all of its values at its greatest. And then again, we're back, I think to a certain extent, back in that place after being a week. We've switched off the Saul with David.
Can I tell you how brains run in this family?
Which one? What did Jane say?
How brains run. Okay, let me just tell you how brilliant my sister is. I probably shouldn't do this. Okay? This is what she says. Okay? She's commenting back and forth on what we're saying. And she says, as an aside, people are very naive. I couldn't have said this better, right? Mm-hmm. There is a very, and she capitalizes very, right? There is a very specific and strategic purpose for the removal of Maduro. This will articulate it better than almost anything else you will need or anything else you will read. So look at what my sister writes. Okay, she says, what justifies this action from a Pentagon strategic perspective is the convergence of 3 existential threats from America's 3 primary adversaries. China has embedded operational control into critical mineral extraction that feeds weapons manufacturing. Mm-hmm. Iran has established drone production facilities within the strike range of the continental United States. And by the way, let me add to that. As I said before, Iran also utilizes the proxy in Venezuela to mix crude, to run their illegal oil industry, and to bypass oil sanctions. Yep. Okay? And then look at what my sister writes as well. She says, Russia has deployed military advisors and integrated air defense systems in the Caribbean. Venezuela represents the only location where all 3 adversaries operate simultaneously. The oil is secondary. Breaking Chinese supply chain dominance, eliminating Iranian manufacturing capability, and expelling Russian military presence are primary. President Trump is brilliant.
He is. It's another, like you said, another Cuban Missile Crisis.
Look what my sister says. I love this. She's so smart. You know what? I'm telling you, I truly think my sister needs to do a podcast with me. Look at her last line here. I love it. She says, this was being planned since August and took 88 minutes to carry out. Chew on that. I love you, Jane.
No,
my sister is brilliant, and she's a master at articulating this.
I can't stress how much planning, timing, training has gone into an event like this. James, we're going to have to kind of more or less wrap it up. What are we going to see this coming week as a result of this?
It's very difficult to speculate as into what we might see in the immediate as a result of this. I think in the immediate, what's going to happen is we're going to see Iran frantically behaving by separating itself from the rest of the world because it's trying to get oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see Russia strategically aligning itself in a way that takes advantage of what might be the greatest opportunity they've ever had for energy dominance in the region. And if they were wise, they would do that. And I think with respect to China, China is going to realize very quickly that its bluffing power is completely gone.
Yeah.
China is going to try to test the waters. I think it won't be long before they insinuate they're going to do something to Taiwan. I think it will not take long for the president to completely drop his pants and pee on him, basically. Okay? And I also think that what we're going to see is a functional restructuring of diplomatic efforts that exist between Turkey and Israel. I think you will begin to see Erdogan reintroduce discussions via proxy, of course, for active trading again between Israel and Turkey. And I think there's going to be open and active discussions about the position in Syria, especially as it relates to the concession of the area of the Golan Heights to Israel, so long as Turkey has the ability of being able to carry Syria as its neutral proxy.
So what Trump is doing is he's kind of taking the I'm going to say the fun out of being part of the bad boys club.
Well, not only is he taking the fun out of being the bad boys club, he's using the bad boys against the bad boys.
Okay.
So think about this. Trump's strongest position, and the man is brilliant. I'm telling you, President Trump is brilliant.
Do you think he really thinks this, or
absolutely?
I mean, is it him, or does he have a team?
He has amazing advisors. Don't get me wrong, but I'm telling you, he knows better than virtually all of them. The man gets it. He gets to know these personalities really, really well, and he knows how to use them against one another and for one another. You know the most brilliant move he has right now with let's just say the Gulf, the GCC. The most brilliant move he has with Saudi Arabia and all the people close to him is Qatar, because he's playing them against one another a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm close to Qatar, but you know what? If you don't want to work with me, I can run over to them. But the ultimate tool that he has, and it's the one that everybody hates, but they understand and respect him for, is, hey, these are my terms. If you don't like this, I'm just going to go to Israel.
Yep.
And he's going to Israel before he does that anyway.
Exactly. And what I'm thinking is he's using Israel against all of the un-USA, the anti-USA elements in the world today.
100%.
Israel's going to become, I'm going to say it like this weirdly, is going to become Trump's stick in the Middle East.
Has become. What are you talking about? It's going to become.
Well, I mean,
it has been his stick in the. It's been his stick in the Middle East for probably the better part of what, all years that he's been president.
And here's the thing: he's deroding NATO. By the way.
Oh my goodness, yes. And by the way, don't think for 1 second Putin doesn't love him for it.
Oh, okay. So to culminate this, Iran's going to be the main issue this week. This is going to be critical. I want people to pay attention to who is yelling against Israel and what they're saying about Venezuela. The ones who are the most outspoken against Israel are also the ones that are most outspoken against Venezuela and against American power. And one of the things I want to stress about what is going on, we're going into an election cycle. Again, Israel is going to be the factor, the indicator of what you should support and what you shouldn't support, and who supports Israel and who doesn't. And that should be, I think, to a certain extent, help you decide who you should support and who you don't. And that's fascinating to see this play out like this again.
Yeah, no, 100%. And again, look, there are these variables that cannot be ignored relative to the common problem that exists with respect to the perceptions that people in the United States have versus the reality that exists. And that's
Okay.
the bigger problem. We are the recipients of the functional breakdown of reasonable intelligence in this arena because Americans have refused to educate themselves regarding the real details of all of this.
Which is why we're here.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
And-
it's part of our responsibility. And by the way, it's why we have an amazing audience because they don't want to be ignorant, and they're not. I mean, look at even our Rumble people. Look at how many people are watching on Rumble.
That's cool.
It's awesome to see the commitment people are beginning to develop to be able to understand the bigger picture. The bigger, that's the thing. You know, it's funny. God is allowing me to interact with people on a pretty regular basis that hate Israel. And I love sitting down and developing dialogue with them. And the reason why I love having these conversations is because I don't want them. My number one goal is not to get them to see why Israel should be supported. My number one goal is not to get them to understand why Israel are the good guys or any of that stuff. My number one goal is to get them to see the conspiracy. My number one goal is to get them to understand that they have a God that created them, that wants to bless them beyond anything they could possibly imagine, and they have a devil that hates them. And that devil that hates them recognizes that the fastest way he could get them cursed is by the doctrine of Balaam. In other words, if I can get you to embrace the hatred of Israel, I can get your blessings taken away from you faster. That's the point.
So Iran's the main focal point this week?
I think they are. And I will say this, don't you think it's like eerily strange that the media is making an exhaustive effort to keep you ignorant of Iran during this time?
Oh, yeah.
Iran isn't anywhere near the media blitz. Isn't it also interesting that the media is going out of their way to personalize and humanize Maduro and not speak to any of the America First issues that exist with what the president brilliantly did?
And again, I'm trying to tie together America First and Israel go together. And that is something that we're seeing again.
I think that it's a completely brilliant assertion by a secularist, by the way, to say what you just said. Do you know the Speaker of the Knesset, which by the way, I'm going to interview him pretty soon.
Oh.
The guy is not a believer. He doesn't believe in the Messiah. He doesn't come anywhere near Orthodox. The guy is gay.
Yeah.
He's a gay man.
Openly gay.
Openly gay. Yet, even he completely lines up with the understanding that embracing Israel is America first.
Yep. So we need to start pushing this.
Start. We've been pushing
but
it.
Again, that's where the split is. People say, "Wait a minute, it's Israel first or America first." No, America first means supporting Israel. Supporting Israel means America first.
100%.
And that's, I think, something that we need to kind of stress. We need to go into that a little bit deeper, maybe next time.
It's a good topic of conversation. I think by the time we get together again in 2 weeks, we're gonna have a lot of things to be conversating about, if you know what I mean.
I wonder what's going to happen in Iran.
I'm telling you, bro, I think you're going to end up being shocked. I think there's going to be some kind of a regime failure.
Okay.
I don't know. You know what? And I'm going to call you partially right on this. I don't know if it's going to be regime change in the sense that we still may see, this Ayatollah class continue on. But man, I have a hard time seeing it. I think they're going to fall. I think they're going to fall hard.
I don't think Khamenei can do what needs to be done for them to be allowed to stay in power.
No way.
Meaning he's going to have to give up the nuclear option, give up the ballistic option, give up, all the different options.
Oh, wait. I got to say this for a second. Ray Goldsboro, you're nuts, man. Okay? I'm going to just tell you this right now. Okay? You are crazy, bro. Okay? Because if you guys know what Ray Goldsboro did for me, I'm not even going to say, look, I just found out yesterday that this guy went on the locals and made a contribution that just shocked I was just shocked.
Wow.
Like I couldn't even believe it. Like I was blown away. Like I was actually trying to get your number because I wanted to ask you if it was a mistake. Like I'm not joking.
So, and thank you.
So thank you, Ray. You're amazing. And by the way, Ray, you should put up the information on your plumbing company. I'm serious. This was not staged. This was not me like saying, hey, I'm just going to do it because the man, he's a wonderful man. He's a very special guy. I spent some time with him in Temecula when I got to do a conference. It wasn't Temecula, it was Murrieta. And his heart for me is inspiring. It was very sweet. Ray's a very special guy. So you should put up the name of your plumbing company, bro. Because let's just watch God bless it. I want God to really bless it. Speaking of which, I also want to say this. This is kind of important because Ray's generosity reminded me of this. We are in a very unique position as a church right now.
Ooh.
Okay? We have an opportunity to buy a building.
Listen to this. This is important.
Yeah, we have an opportunity to buy a building that would probably hit all of the checklists, every single one of them. But it's millions and millions and millions more than what we have.
A lot.
Yeah. I'm asking you guys to pray. If you feel led to give, we would be blessed. If you know somebody who's in a position to give large amounts, we would be blessed. We want you to be led and constrained by the Lord, but there is absolutely a significant need. I mean, if we were to buy this building, it would make a massive difference for our church. It would give us an almost 1,000 seat sanctuary.
Wow.
It would give us a whole bunch of classrooms. It would give us lots of offices and the ability to build a beautiful studio, multiple studios if we needed to. So if you know anybody who's in a position to give and to give big, please talk to them. Consider it. You guys are, I mean, if you can think about it, and if you business owners out there, you know other people that are looking to give, want to be blessed by God, by blessing Israel, because we do bless Israel. I mean, give me a break. Do it. By the way, let me say this before I go on with this. Ray's company is Bonanza Plumbing in Loma Linda. Bonanza Plumbing in Loma Linda. Write it down. And if for whatever reason you have any plumbing needs, these guys do commercial, these guys do private, whatever, you go to them. Ray's a godly guy. He's not going to steer you the wrong way.
I might have some work for him.
I have a friend, by the way, who's probably the most famous plumber in the world who says he knows Ray.
The most famous plumber? Is there
Most famous plumber in the world.
Is there famous? He's got a YouTube channel?
Roger Wakefield.
Okay.
Probably one of the greatest. Roger's an amazing guy, by the way. I have so much love for Roger and his son. They're very dear friends of mine. But for any of you guys that can do this, if you feel led, if there's somebody you want to talk to, we're now putting it out there because this is the most real opportunity that we've ever had. Okay? Yeah, by the way, there are famous plumbers, believe it or not.
I'm happy.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the chats. Okay? And then speaking of generosity, I do want to read the rest of these super chats because you guys are so sweet and you're kind. And the kindness that shows in your generosity is always the most encouraging for me. You know, I want to say because of your generosity, because of your support, because of all the different things that you guys have done, you have blessed us in ways that are just unbelievable. And we are just so thankful for all that you guys have done and all that you guys continue to do. You've been a real blessing. So let me read some of these super chats because you guys are awesome. Let's take a look. We got quite a few of them today. Brad, oh my goodness. If I read all of Brad's, I'm going to get busted. So all I'm going to say is to Brad, you're amazing. I love you. Oh yeah, at least two of these I would get myself really, 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 really busted. I can't resist. Oh my goodness. Tim's Learning Center. That is a scam, Brad. I can tell you that right now. UN Security Council met yesterday. I can't get myself busted. Brad, thank you for your generosity. I love you. Brad is one of my researchers, and he's one of our. I just lost my brain. Anyway, one of our moderators. Thank you, Brad. Love you. Badger Girl for God, thank you so much. You say the UN Security Council said it was illegal for the U.S. to invade a sovereign country. Do you think they passed the memo to themselves about Gaza and Israel? So brilliant. Oh, you're so brilliant. I love that. Waiting on the Lord. Hey, Pastor James and Bro David, bless you both. Did you hear that Burger King is coming out with a new burger in honor of Maduro? It's called the Crack Burger with the side order of Coke, fries,
cool.
And they come and get me shake.
Cool.
Oh my gosh, you guys are so brilliant. You guys are funny. Okay, Badger Girl for God, you say, could it be Ezekiel 38 when the Lord puts the hooks in Russia? Could it be Ezekiel 38 when the Lord puts the hooks in Russia and it will be because of all the leaders of the other countries keep running away to Russia? You know, I understand the mindset behind what you're saying, but I think the hook is going to relate more to the natural resources that Russia is desperate to get.
It's going to need, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think. And then Ray, thank you. You say Happy New Year's. Pastor James and David, thank you for all your insight on what's happening around the world. Thank you, Ray. You're just amazing. You just blow my mind. And Ray, I got to ask you this, bro. That wasn't an accident, right? Like what you did on Locals. I was shocked when I saw that. I just want to make sure, get confirmation from you. Can you also do me a favor? Can you call the church office and leave me with your contact information? Go for my assistant or just call the church office. It would be great. And then also, Lawrence Knight, you say, hey, Brother James, it's Larry. God bless you, and I'm proud of you speaking out for Christ. God bless you, Larry. We love you. Hey, so going back to this thing with the building, please pray, you guys. It's a big deal. Your prayers are going to matter the most.
It'll change. It'll change.
If by any chance you're in a position to do it, or you know somebody who might be in a position to do it, please pray about supporting us. Because this building is the most tangible opportunity that we've had since the very beginning. And it could be an amazing change for us. It could be pretty amazing. Okay? And yes, Bonanza Plumbing services the whole Southern California area. I remember Ray telling me that. I remember that.
So watch what's going on in Iran this week.
Yep. Watch that. Get my book.
Yep.
Guys, I'm telling you, it's been very helpful to a lot of people. I think it will be helpful to you. We love you guys. Any final words, bro?
Again, the correlation that I'm seeing between the haters of Israel and the haters of America in this way, shape, or form, even though they call themselves something else, is amazing. Again, you're seeing this connected. And, I mean, God bless America. And through America, God bless Israel.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's amazing what we're seeing. God is faithful. He's good, you guys.
Amen.
And what we're watching is remarkable.
Amen. You're
It's
seeing,
unprecedented.
like I said, you're seeing prophecy being played out in the real world right now.
Yep.
Let's keep.
Yep. And by the way, I also want to say this. The paperback version of my book comes out at the end of the week.
All right.
It's not much cheaper. Like $5 or $6 cheaper. But you won't have any Amazon problems with it because we're having Amazon directly print it this time.
So can I take a signed copy of it with me on the cruise?
Bro, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to get you a hardback right now. I'm going to give it to you.
Let's do that.
I'm going to have one of my assistants bring it over and I'm going to sign it for you. Okay? All right. And then Ray, let me see what his Ray says. No accident, James. Myself, my wife think about you all the time. Oh, my goodness. Well, you win the reward, bro. It's the single greatest, largest contribution ever made to me directly. I'm very humbled by that. Like, very humbled by that. Wow. Not very deserving of that, but thank you. All right. Shall we pray?
Let's do
David,
it.
you want to do it?
Avinu Shebashamayim. It's just, we see the world in Balagan, and we know that after everything, before everything, and through everything, you're in control of this. And we just want to say you thank you. We know that Israel's going to be hated. We know that your people are going to be persecuted. We know that that's the role that we have to play. But, thank you for allowing us to do what we're doing. Thank you for Pastor James for opening up this. Thank you for all these people that are watching us and listening to us and contributing. And we just are amazed by the abundance of what you do. We know that you have a hand over Israel, and we know that anybody who lifts up a hand against Israel will be hurt. We just pray for those who don't really get the idea yet. Thank you for everything that's happened, and we just pray that this week will be another week for your glory. When we pray this in the name of Jesus, Yeshua HaMashiach, your son. Amen.
Amen and amen. We love you guys. God bless you. Keep fighting the good fight. Pray for David that he has a safe cruise. And pray for God to put somebody on your heart that you know might be able to contribute in a great way to this building, because I think it's going to change a lot of lives. All right?
Hallelujah.
I love you guys. God bless you.